Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Please let me know if you can get the volume. You can see us on video so that we are able to start the show. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Please let me know if you can see us on video and let me know if you can see us on video. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So, good evening. Hello, and welcome to Augustine's final episode. Today is Sunday, the 7th of June, 2026. And thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to join me wherever you are watching from around the world. We're always happy to have a football conversation on a day such as this one. Southern Hemisphere is in the evening in Zambia. It's in the morning, midday, slightly afternoon in the United States. Again, thank you very much. This is a platform, like we say, dedicated to sports. Just please let me know. You share the broadcast. Let me know if you're watching us from wherever you are. Let me know if you're watching us from wherever you are. Let me just share this um, video. Let me know if you're joining wherever you're joining us from. Please let me know wherever you're joining us from.
Your destination for breaking news, sharp expert analysis, and hard-hitting investigative pieces in the world of sports. Catch our uncut, unfiltered coverage on Augustine's Final Whistle. Your destination for breaking news, sharp expert analysis, and hard-hitting investigative pieces in the world of sports. Catch our uncut, unfiltered coverage on Augustine's Final Whistle. Your destination for breaking news, sharp expert analysis, and hard-hitting investigative pieces in the world of sports. Catch our uncut, unfiltered coverage on Augustine's Final Whistle. Your destination for breaking news, sharp expert analysis, and hard-hitting investigative pieces in the world of sports. Catch our uncut, unfiltered coverage on Augustine's Final Whistle. Your destination for breaking news, sharp expert analysis, and hard-hitting investigative pieces in the world of sports. Catch our uncut, unfiltered coverage on Augustine's Final Whistle. Your destination for breaking news, sharp expert analysis, and hard-hitting investigative pieces in the world of sports. Catch our uncut, unfiltered coverage on Augustine's Final Whistle. Your destination for breaking news, sharp expert analysis, and hard-hitting investigative pieces in the world of sports. Catch our uncut, unfiltered coverage on Augustine's Final Whistle. Your destination for breaking news, sharp expert analysis, and hard-hitting investigative pieces in the world of sports.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you. So again, good evening and welcome to Augustine's Final Whistle. Today is Sunday, the 7th of June, 2026. Thank you as always for taking time to join me wherever you're watching from around the world, in Zambia and everywhere else in Africa, the US. I do appreciate you taking the time to join me on this platform. Already indicated that this platform is a sports strictly platform. Football being what it is, it cuts across all sectors.
all sectors. And to be specific, while we speak about football and we speak about soccer as it is called in the United States, we definitely will discuss various issues that impact football in our society. So, and communities as a whole. Tonight, as indicated, we are looking at Zambia's preparations and generally Zambia's, preparations for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations is set for Morocco next month. The Copper Queens will be participating in that competition. It is a very, very significant tournament for Zambia because that will determine, again, Zambia's participation at the FIFA World Cup in 2027 in Brazil. So should Zambia win and then reach the semifinals of the 2026 World Cup, they automatically qualify to the FIFA World Cup, which will be held in Brazil. So we focus on that. Currently, there's a 4 Nations tournament going on in Zambia. We will focus briefly on that. We'll give you a few results from the World Cup dress rehearsal matches that have been played across the world. African teams are preparing. African teams are, putting in their best. There'll be 10 African teams at the FIFA 2026 World Cup here in the United States. Dallas will be hosting 9 matches, the most of the 104 matches, I think, that will be played in this tournament. It's the first tournament that has 48 World Cup teams, finalists, 48 teams in that World Cup. There'll be a lot of matches, a lot of action to be watched out there. And the Dallas Stadium will host at least 9 matches. 9 matches. These matches are being played in Mexico, the United States, as well as Canada. So we'll give you a few results there as the world awaits the biggest sporting tournament. I did indicate on my Facebook page that we'll look at issues to do with match fixing in Zambian football. You will note that the first president was on a podcast earlier this week, I think on Thursday. He featured on Kennedy's one-on-one, and he made some comments regarding match fixing, and this is arising to my earlier podcast that I did a few weeks ago, and he seemed to respond to some of the issues that we raised, and we will definitely, augment our presentation with what we understand and what we have on our disposal. So we'll be responding to the first president, Mr. Keith Mwemba, will definitely give an insight onto what we're doing on that match fixing issue. And I'll also tackle layman's understanding of the first constitution, and we'll definitely try and dissect the issues he raised too in that audio. I'll be playing the audio in a moment, and then we can go ahead. I'll be playing actually a portion of the video. It's around about 14 minutes. Please bear with me. It's a little bit long, but in order for us to have context to what I'll be discussing, as we go into this segment, you need to listen to what he has said so you can have a vast view of the issues that we are discussing. These are public issues. These are matters of public interest, and we need to tackle them objectively, and we need to give you the context that we are talking about. So I'll definitely be coming up with that video in a short while and discuss some of the constitutional breaches, serious constitutional breaches that have occurred under the mandate of Mr. Keith Mwemba, where he's been vice president for about a year. I mean, many of you, of course, know that indeed was one of his fervent take over the vice presidents. But we'll discuss that in a little while. So right away, I wanted us to look at the women's preparation. Yesterday, Zambia played Kenya in a Four Nations tournament at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium. So the match ended 1-0 in regulation time, and the team went on to win on penalties. Priska Chilufya scored an early goal probably in the first 5 minutes, around about third minute of that match, and then Kenya equalized in the second half, taking the match to penalties. Kundananji, of course, Liam Mwanza. I'm glad to see Ochumba Oseke Lwanji back in the team. She scored a penalty in that match. I think Irene Lungu scored a penalty, so Zambia won 4-1 in that match. Congratulations to the team. Their coach, who is based in Switzerland. Is it Switzerland? I think so. Switzerland is around specifically for the tournament. We hope to see her continue preparing the team thereafter. But anyways, it was a very poor match. The team was disorganized. We are hoping that the coach has picked some lessons from there. Of particular interest was the absence of Barbara Banda. Barbara Banda was seen on the court, on the technical bench, helping, send instructions to the team here and there. She's the team captain. She was injured from their last game, against BFC here in the United States. So I think prevention is better than cure. Rather than aggravate her knock, the technical staff obviously decided to keep her out of the game, which was a wise thing to do, because what you need is a Barbara Banda fit for the WAFCON, which is a very important tournament. So the missing link, I think, and that's what I needed to talk about, is NLS Perry. NLS Perry was missing from that team. No reason has been given by either Faz or the technical bench. This is one of the hottest properties that we have in the team. But information, of course, I'm getting about NLS Perry's absence is a little disturbing. Rather than discuss that information, publicly, I want to give the youngster a chance to realign herself, look at priorities, what does she want to achieve, and her handlers and Faz will be very, very critical in this process. They need to help NLS Perry. She cannot afford to be missing these significant matches. It can't afford to be missing unless there's something extraordinary. But the reasons that have been given are not strong enough to justify her. She must be helped to be present in the national team, because going to the Africa Cup, that's one of the players that has the potential to break into Europe. She's one of the players that has the potential to break into the best women's league in the world, which is the National Women's Soccer League in America. But if she's not present for her national team, prospects will end before they start. So encourage those that are handling NLS Perry to ensure that she, improves on her professionalism. It is very, very important that NLS Perry is present with the Copper Queens. We will not talk about what it is, and we'll not talk about the details, but we've already been efficiently informed with regards to what is happening to NLS Perry. So back on the pitch, the match against Kenya, 1-1 in regulation time, 4-1 on penalties. The team goes into the final of the Four Nations. They play on Tuesday against Zimbabwe, who will beat Lesotho 3-1. So we look forward to another good performance, improved rather performance from what the team displayed against Kenya. Nigeria, who are Zambia's Group C opponents at WAFCON, were engaged in a home fixture against Senegal. They defeated Senegal 2-1. And Malawi, who are also Zambia's opponents in Group C, were engaged in a preparatory match. Their key striker, probably best player on the team, Temwa Chawinga, was missing from that team. So, but they still played to a goalless draw against Malawi. All teams are preparing and all teams are focused, utilizing this FIFA window. Very, very critical indeed. And we hope that the team in Zambia, the Copper Queens, will continue fine-tuning. For your information, Barbara and Kondananji would not be in action at their local clubs, at their clubs at BFC for Kundananji or Barbara at Orlando Pride, because the United States is now hosting the FIFA World Cup, kicking off on Thursday next week. So it means that the local league in the US is off, will be off for the duration of the World Cup. The World Cup ends around about mid-July. Mid-July will just be a week away, a week or two away from kickoff of the WAFCON. So we have to make sure that we have a plan for both Kundananji, for both and Barbara Banda and the rest of the team as we build up towards WAFCON. That's very critical. Our mission is to do better than we did last time at WAFCON. Not how we were eliminated. I think in the quarterfinal, humiliated by Nigeria. We need to do better than we did in 2023. So in 2023, we won bronze. This is an improved team, an experienced team with superstars on it. There is no justification not to come out of there with less than a silver medal at WAFCON. So ours should be to target the title, and that will come with proper preparations. And I think having started the Four Nations tournament, it's one of them. Moving on to the FIFA World Cup, we have been watching some mouth-watering friendlies as the world prepares for this biggest sporting event here in the United States. I mean, African envoys have also been engaged in friendlies. Yesterday, we saw Belgium, humiliate Tunisia. They massacred Tunisia. We hope that the Tunisians are learning from these friendlies. It was 5-0 in favor of Belgium. Then we had Mexico. Mexico defeated Zambia 5-1. A big result there. The US had a game, lost to Germany. They did beat Senegal 3-2. 3-4 days ago, they played another friendly yesterday, and they lost to Germany 2-1. Brazil were 2-1 victors against Egypt. A good result for them, preparing for the big one next week. England also had a good result against New Zealand 1-0. And South Africa beat the Reggae Boys. Africa had some visa issues before they traveled, which was sorted. And they defeated the Reggae Boys Jamaica 1-0 in that preparatory match. Now, having provided that opening segment of this broadcast, please let's continue sharing. I want to play to you one video one clip from the FAS president. I move on to discuss the issues of match fixing, and constitutionalism in the Football Association of Zambia. Let me see if I can play you this video from the FAS president. See here. Give me 1 second here. I want to play the video in a moment. It's a little bit long, but I want us to listen to it so that we can get context as to what we are talking about.
So my follow-up question, Mr. Mwemba, is
you asked something about the first presidency.
Yes. So we know that you got an interest to stand for the position of first president, and all of a sudden in the media we read that I don't think you're disqualified or you're not eligible. Could you share with us what was happening in the background? Because to a certain extent, some of us are really not very clear about what was going on and how now you became eligible.
Yeah. Yeah, look, Well, you know, yes, we passed through the integrity checks, all of us, and well, speaking for myself, I passed that, and I was told that you have passed. But I was surprised to be told that you're not eligible, and the incumbent then was declared to have won the elections from 2025 to 2029. It was the videos are there. It was in public domain. But look, I'll tell you the truth. If you remember the interview I gave outside, I said this is a joke of the century. I meant just that because I knew that it was illegal. I qualified. I met the constitutional thresholds, so I wasn't really worried because I knew that I was going to mount a very serious challenge. And you might be interested to know that I actually got in touch with FIFA myself, and we did not want that injustice. I mean, it was embarrassing. It wasn't going to be good for football, and a lot of things were happening. Probably, see, we have come now. I came to power on the platform of peace, unity, and reconciliation. I wouldn't really want to dwell so much of what was going on in the past. But as a person who is a practicing lawyer, I don't just do things without thinking. I don't make an allegation without evidence. I don't do anything without planning. So a lot of things, wrong things, were happening in the background. There were a lot of machinations on how we could be bad. There were a lot of machinations that were going on in the background for some of us to be banned. There were so many issues which were not true, which arose. You know, they were trying to find everything possible at any given point in time. But when you are clean, you are clean. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks out there. And I know what was going on. I'm not going to say I had evidence. I must tell you that as a lawyer that I was prepared and have evidence of all the meetings, the dark corner meetings that were going on in the background, what was happening, how were they meant to make us unpopular in the eyes of the councillors, to even making false allegations. Oh, this Musa this, Musa that, match fixing, all referees what. But look, there are procedures. If you are aggrieved something, the statute, the football statute provides for a mechanism. Get your evidence, go there and present your case. It's as simple as that. You cannot be making noise on the rooftop. You are just shouting, you want to damage people's reputations. So unfortunately, I have got quite a lot. And I must tell you that I was just waiting for somebody to come and bring those allegations. Then I think this nation was going to see what they had never seen before. I'm talking about incontrovertible empirical evidence of what was going on. Dark corner meetings, how people were plotting. I have that. How referees were even recruited to create a false narrative. But others refused. They say, no, we cannot do that against an innocent person. I'll ask you one question. I think you have heard a lot about match fixing, what. Are you really sure, even you, people who are seated here, do you really think that if that was true, do you think I could have survived? Ask yourself that.
The last time I heard a story about match fixing, and anyone close to home was involved. I think there were young players that were in Finland. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I know about that.
But they were quickly kicked out of. They could not play football.
But look, the game plan there was to annoy the councillors, the clubs. You can't make him president because of this. But the question is, everybody must ask themselves. And I challenge anybody. I heard one person out there talking about, oh, I've got a report. Smata comply. Look, Smata is my big man. We're working well together. Forget about that. I'm speaking good faith.
Yes.
Someone was ranting out there. Why are you misleading the people? If you are saying you have got a document, I report it to FIFA. Look, man, come on, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let him go. I challenge him. Let him write to FIFA. Today I challenge him. Let him go to FIFA. Why are you going to mislead the public? You want to excite the feelings of the people there to mislead the masses. There are many things people want to. You people in the media should take time to read. I'm a practicing lawyer. I've practiced law for years. Not only practicing it, I have made the law in this country. You read the Zambia law reports. There are cases that we have won at the highest level, in the Supreme Court, in the High Court, in the Court of Appeal, in the Constitutional Court. We have made the law in this country. I'm a lecturer of law. I teach the law. So you can't tell me. I think you have heard someone is saying we have a new general secretary now at FAS. Someone was saying, oh, the illegal executive committee meeting is contrary to the constitution. Oh, this FAS president is a lawyer. He can't even read the constitution. Come on, why are you misleading the people? I'm a constitutional law expert myself. My postgraduate studies were in constitutional jurisprudence, but I've also a postgraduate qualification in legislative drafting. We draft the laws of this country. We have drafted laws of this country, including international conventions. I'm a qualified legislative drafter here. I teach the law. So the point I'm making, maybe I don't want you to get lost. The point I'm making, you heard some people out there, and other people, they're even commenting. You see, ignorance of the law is not a defense. Others are commenting, yes, we accept Article 20 of the Zambian Constitution, which is the supreme law, gives you people freedom of expression. But that freedom is not cast in stone, it's not absolute. You can't abuse it. And now when you want to control a narrative, you want to mislead the masses. You see, Karl Marx talked something about misleading the people. Karl Marx, if you read Das Kapital, Karl Marx, when he was talking about governance, he talked about remember, I came to power on the platform of democracy and upholding the fundamental principles of democracy, such as the rule of law, constitutionalism, among others. But Karl Marx said, those who possess the means of production hold all the power to manipulate the masses and perpetuate unjust situations. Social inequality and injustice are the consequences. Democracy is a tool in the hands of the privileged class who have command over public opinion through the mass media. So people want to get certain things and hoodwink the people, to manipulate the minds of the people, to excite the feelings of the people, to promote hatred. You want to incite people. You are lying. How can you tell me I'm a lawyer who has practiced law for so many years, and you are telling me that I don't understand a simple FAS constitution? A simple FAS constitution, when the current Republican constitution is, I was part and parcel of the drafting process. I was part and parcel of that. So how can, if I call for a FAS executive committee meeting today, you are misleading people and say, oh, this FAS president has called for a meeting, it's unconstitutional, he has not read the constitution. The constitution is very clear. You are supposed just to have one meeting. You are supposed to have one meeting, one EXCO meeting every month, once a month. But look, the constitution of FAS, if you read the provisions, are very clear in Article 34. The executive shall meet at least once a month. Now, look, if you understand law, the canons of interpretation, law has got the canons of interpretation, and the principles applicable to constitutional interpretation may not necessarily be the same with the interpreting an ordinary statute. There are many canons of interpretation. You have got the purposeful canon of interpretation, you have got the golden rule, the mischief rule, among others. So when the constitution says the EXCO shall meet at least once a month, what does that tell you? Even as a layman, why is the one journalist misleading everybody and say, because we had a meeting in a day before the FAS AGM in Dola, therefore we could not meet? That's completely misleading the people. At least once a month means we can have an EXCO meeting today, and if we can have 2 meetings, we can have 3, 4. I can even have 4 meetings, EXCO meetings in a month.
But every month you need to have at least minimum.
But minimum once, meaning 12 times annually, 12 times a year. But I can have even 32 meetings in the whole year. And then when you talk about a notice within 7 days, what does that tell you? We can give notice today. Day one starts right. Today is day 0. Day one starts running tomorrow. Now, that does not mean, so within that 7 days, it doesn't mean that now you have to exceed to the 8th day. So the EXCO agenda can be deliberated within that period. It can be deliberated. And then if you are done with the business, like the appointment of the general secretary, we appointed, we deliberated one sitting. It ended there. We did not need to go even beyond the 8th day, because within 7 days does not exceed to the 8th day. So within 7 days. You understand? And there's a specific agenda.
Yeah.
So why am I, you might be wondering why I'm telling you all this. I want the people of Zambia, the councillors, I'm calling upon the councillors to start now understanding who is causing confusion and promoting hatred in Zambian football, who is trying to create divisions, camps. I think I don't want to point an accusing finger. I want people to open their eyes and see, because some of our people even started commenting and say, oh, this is illegal. How is it illegal? Look, another point, this is my last point on this issue of the constitution. The councillors, they made a decision to change the calendar and to increase the number of teams in the ZPL. Then someone wants to say, oh, this is illegal, what? How is it illegal? First of all, EXCO has got a power to, including the members themselves, to make proposals. Now, the proposal which EXCO made, it is different from a proposal to amend the constitution or any statute of us. When a proposal borders on constitutional amendments, the procedure which is applicable is different. But if it is any other proposal, and then it has a consequence, a spillover effect of, say, now the teams will increase. You can't be talking about you have increased the number of the electoral college or the number of voters. There's nothing illegal about that. There's nothing unconstitutional about that, because now who is sovereign? It's the councillors. The council is the supreme body. Just like in Zambia, the constitution is the supreme law under Article 1. It's the supreme law of the Republic of Zambia. But who is sovereign? It's the people. The people are the makers of the constitution. The constitution creates organs of government and gives the power to those organs. But the people are sovereign. So the council is sovereign. If you understand constitutional principles, I don't understand why people want to become experts at law and they think we are stupid. It is them who are now looking, because see, you are creating records, you write something, and you go in air, and then you leave a trace, something permanently, then you end up just looking very stupid, because at the end of the day, you are not a lawyer yourself. You want to apply the literal canon of interpretation, and you think now you know the constitution. But in a nutshell, even under the Republican Constitution, when you are going to go to the amending article, which is Article 79, the amending article 79 of the Constitution, the procedure which will be applicable is different. That's why the Zambian Constitution has separate documents. You have this Constitution, but the Bill of Rights under Part 3 of the Constitution has never been amended, and the amending article 79. So those, once you are invoking that, then the procedure applicable is different. So there was nothing illegal about the council making a decision. If they need, and all we shall do now is to actualize it by increasing the number of teams. Very perfectly lawful and constitutional. Question.
So my follow-up question, Mr. Mwemba, is
you asked something about the first presidency.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I understand that could have been a long lecture on matters of law. Very, very interesting analogy from the first president. When I watched that video, I shudder to imagine what sort of a lawyer he is. First of all, unless he had smoked weed and there was some form of temporal insanity obtaining in his mind, he cannot interpret the first constitution as a lawyer of great repute he is. In the manner he is doing, it's unimaginable I've bounced off with lawyers, some of whom are sports lawyers, on that decision. Before I bounced off with lawyers, as a layman, I was able to determine there was a serious breach. There have been serious breaches under his leadership. And for a lawyer with a illustrious career that he has had, this is unacceptable. It's unimaginable to witness. Because when you are a lawyer and you are given a public institution to administer, to run, to manage, your strength is legal field. And legislation in that field should be exemplar. Your conduct as a lawyer should be exemplar. But I am shocked. You can actually excuse somebody who's not a lawyer and is managing an association such as FARS, then making constitutional errors. You can excuse them, but it is very difficult to excuse a lawyer who claims to understand the law, who claims to have won cases as far as the Supreme Court, who claims to be a drafter of the law, who claims to have been part of crafting sacred documents such as the Constitution of a country. I will demonstrate to you in a little bit some of the breaches that have occurred under his leadership so far. And I would challenge him to provide evidence if certain things have occurred or not. But before I go to that, I also want to challenge him because he's given me a challenge to compile a report to FIFA. I accepted that challenge. And on Wednesday, I'll discuss that report in greater detail. I want to make mention that the referees, first of all, have not been paid for the 2025-2026 season. They have not been paid the amount. Okay? We have failed to pay the referees from Division 1, provincial, going down to Division 4. The referees have not been paid. Nothing. Number 2, the challenge to compile a report has been accepted. That will be compiled. As you travel to Mexico for the FIFA summit and opening ceremony of the World Cup, rest assured there will be a report following you in a couple of days. It's already in its infancy. It's already been done. So that challenge has been accepted. Now, you are going around telling people that been said by raising these issues that you are mismanaging the association, you're misreading the constitution and misinterpreting it, therefore misleading the First Council. I'm going to demonstrate to you in a bit how you've, as the First President, misled the First Council on constitutional issues. I do not claim constitutional expertise. All I know is that you can get a First Constitution, like you've put it clearly, it's a simple constitution you can read. We will establish one simple issue here. You raised the issue of Mr. Smata being your big man. It's unfortunate that you'd go on a public forum and lie through your teeth in that manner. I will draw you back to May 11, 2025, when you and me were on the same car traveling from Ndola to Lusaka. On that journey, you revealed that shortly before elections, you had gone to greet Mr. Smart in the first council. You went to shake hands with Mr. Smart before the councillors voted for the next first president in Karo. You told me how Mr. Smart humiliated you in front of other people. You told me how Mr. Smart refused to shake your hand. I then was shocked and surprised. I asked you how true that can be. You sensed I couldn't believe that Mr. Smart would do such a thing. I want to tell you that it's even very difficult to discuss Mr. Smart because he's my big man. I know him. I'm a long way with him. One thing I'll tell you is if you see me today consistently discuss issues of the Constitution, the first football administrator who invited me to his office to give me the first Constitution was Mr. Smart. Around early 2004, I think. I'd done a story that he thought did not conform with the thoughts and processes of the first Constitution. He was working at Finance Bank. He invited, Mona, you come to my office. Therefore, I will take office. He then called me to his office, went to his cubicle. He was a senior manager there, and he invited me. We had a lengthy discussion. And before I left his office, he asked me, do you have a copy of the first Constitution? I said, No, I do not have. He then gave me a copy of the first Constitution and said, you should be reading this Constitution. When you are referring to some of these issues, make sure you make reference to this Constitution. From that time, I have religiously followed developments around the first Constitution. And I understand how even in 2006, it was amended. And then later on in 2017, it was amended, 2018, 2019. So I've followed and understood how the process of the first Constitution has evolved. And Mr. Smarter and yourself have never been friends. You've been acquaintances. He's not your big man. I did raise the fact that he was commissioned by your predecessor to carry out a report on match fixing, and he did that. He carried out a report on match fixing, but there was a problem. And here is a problem with that report that he did on match fixing. The problem was that it was not an objective report. It was subjective. It only targeted Musa FC and activities around referees at Musa. There have been numerous complaints. Number one, there used to be the same referees that were sent to Musa, the same referees, the same linesmen, and the same match commissioners, literally. So people started complaining. But those complaints had existed for a long time. Now, because those complaints had existed for a long time, when we are heading towards election, your predecessor wanted to eliminate the strongest candidate. He then commissioned a subjective process to find you guilty of match fixing. And because the process was flawed, this is why the report was short. It was going to be difficult to establish match fixing when you've done an inobjective job. So you cannot use illegal means to seek justice. And that was what that report or that process of investigation was thrown out. However, there were elements that pointed to match fixing around yourself, Mr. President, and FC Musa. The number of questionable penalties that are given to Musa, the number of same referees that were assigned to Musa, and that is why the referees manager then was shunted. Even the process of shunting the referees manager at a OIDC then was wrong. It was not properly done. So if an objective commission, which is what we are going to ask FIFA to do, is done, you cannot escape match fixing allegations. No, you can't. Because in that same report, Mr. Smartin established that there was consistent funds that were going to the referee's manager's account. There was always either on a Wednesday or Thursday of every game. So there have been these match fixing allegations, and there's substance in those match fixing allegations based on that report. But sadly, the report was done, with a subjective mentality to just get at you. Because you are not the only one who's engaged or who may be engaged in match fixing in Zambia. You are not the only one. You're not the one. This match fixing is widespread. I'll give you an example of another case that you should have investigated and made a decision of a referee named Kennedy Chimense. Kennedy Chimense was given a number by one of your bloggers to call Nchanga Rangers. At the time, at Nchanga Rangers, there was Mr. Shapi Shachinda as CEO. Mr. Kennedy Chimense started to discuss match-fixing issues with Mr. Shapi Shachinda. He was asking, I think, for 5 cows and 5,000 kwacha in those lines. He wanted to fix a match in favor of Nchanga Rangers. That's a fact. That referee was suspended. After that information emerged, it was established that the referee was soliciting funds to fix a match. That referee was suspended. When you won the first election, you gave a blanket olive branch to everyone to say everyone is in football, even all those who were banned are welcome. Chimense found an opportunity with the people at FAS and you brought him back into football. He officiated at the playoffs without any training, despite having been suspended. He was calamitous. The playoffs last year, numerous complaints of match fixing. Chimense was there. People even said, how do you bring a referee who's been suspended for match fixing to come and officiate the playoffs? That had nothing to do with Musa. It had something to do with match fixing in Zambian football. Are you refusing Chimense did not solicit bribes from Nchanga Rangers? Shapi Shachinda? Mr. Shapi Shachinda was, when I was starting journalism, he was my senior at the Times of Zambia. He was Sunday Times editor then, before he proceeded to KCM. And later on became CEO for Nchanga Rangers. Is that not match fixing? What have you done about that? And that's what we want FIFA to come and clean up the system in Zambia. We are going to file that, and I'll discuss that report in detail on Wednesday. Madam Gladys Lengwe, your own appointee as the referees committee chairperson, within 6 months, uncovered serious corruption around referees. She had a Zoom meeting with referees. She confessed. She's never seen that kind of, match fixing in her career. That's a FIFA referee. That's somebody who's born as FIFA, who's match commission and everything else. What have you done about that report? Why are you scared to set up an inquiry into match fixing? What are you hiding? These are the things that we want FIFA to come and establish. There is match fixing in Zambia. There's serious match fixing. There are stories, allegations of some CEOs who go to the homes of referees when they know that a referee has been appointed. They go to the neighbor's house. They ask what problem that referee is facing. The next day they do is they buy mealie meal. They buy uniforms for the referee's children. They stock the referee's house. Then they just leave way that tell the family, you tell them, oh, so, abakubola ibachis, tibatushira or something. Clear match fixing. And you refuse that? No, you can't. You can even come on a podcast to defend such nonsense, that there is no match fixing in Zambia. President, what are you doing? We'll discuss the match fixing. Your challenge has been accepted. Challenge you here today, you and me, in the manner that you interpreted the Constitution. I was thinking that, because weed sometimes, I've never smoked weed, but weed, I don't know if you have, but weed sometimes can cause temporal insanity. When I was watching that podcast of yours with Kenny T, I was thinking, was this comrade on weed or what? You're saying, alleging that I'm misleading the councillors. Let me demonstrate to you, number one constitutional breach. You did appoint the chairperson of the ethics committee by the name of Zambia Sinkala. Now, in 2018, when your predecessor appointed Mr. Kefas Katongo as chairperson of the 2017-2018 thereabout, chairperson of the ethics committee, I raised an issue regarding that appointment. And I want to also raise an issue, similarly, constitutional issue. The Constitution of FAS requires that a lawyer who is appointed to judicial bodies is a practicing lawyer. A practicing lawyer in Zambia requires to possess a certificate from ALAZ, the Law Association of Zambia. And if you don't have a practicing license from the Law Association of Zambia, which is renewed annually, you cannot practice law in Zambia. But your predecessor appointed Mr. Kefas Katongo in that position when for 2 consecutive years, Mr. Kefas Katongo had not renewed his license. I challenge that constitutional anomaly consistently. I challenge that it was constitutional, it was a constitutional anomaly, there's correspondence, you can go and look for it. Here is a similar constitutional anomaly you created on the appointment of Mr. Zambia Sinkala. Zambia is an open political person. There is nothing wrong with somebody being UPND. There's nothing wrong with somebody being PF. But when it comes to football matters, you cannot be openly PF, you cannot be openly UPND and occupy certain position. And that is why football has got strict rules on neutrality and non-discrimination. You can't discriminate somebody based on politics, or you cannot, or religion. And you therefore cannot make appointments of people who are politically inclined openly. Mr. Zambia is an open UPND member. He doesn't hide it. And he was aspiring for office. But Article 3 of the first Constitution, Article 3 of the first Constitution, 3.1 states, FAS is neutral in matters of politics and religion. Now, a chairperson of a judicial body such as the Ethics Committee is required to be neutral. Is Mr. Zambia neutral? No, you are in breach of that article. Secondly, assuming that you are not in breach of that article, here's a crucial one. Article 56.3 of the first Constitution requires that a person who's qualified to practice law has undergone an integrity check. in order for them to be appointed or reappointed as the chairperson of the ethics committee. When you appointed Zambia Sinkala, who did the integrity check, you reckon that this article says the Audit and Compliance Committee will do the integrity check. Now, Zambia has got issues of misconduct when he related with, or when he did business with National Arts Council, or when he was working either as a board or something. How did he pass the integrity test to become chairperson of the ethics committee? Is that not a breach? Now, if you, a lawyer, can ignore such provision, should we question your sanity? Who is insane between you and me, who is not a lawyer, but is able to determine and deduce that you have breached the Constitution? Challenge you. We can go for an insanity test. Let's go for an insanity test. The manner in which you are breaching the Constitution demonstrates to all of us the caliber of a lawyer you are. Now, that is one thing that I didn't mention, but I just wanted to raise to you that this is one breach that you have caused, occasioned. If Zambia went through an integrity check, I challenge you to publish the report of the audit committee chaired by Mr. Mbambiko, because at the time you took his name to the FAS Council for him to be chairperson of the ethics committee, Mr. Mbambiko was chairperson of the audit and compliance. I challenge you to show us the report from the audit and compliance committee that conducted an integrity test on Zambia. Then you would not be in breach of Article 56.3 of the Football Association of Zambia Constitution. Challenge you. We come to the issue you discussed in the audio about the increase in number of teams. I don't know why you want to defend that clear breach. It's a clear breach. The current FAS Electoral College is tied to the number of teams in the Super League and in National Division 1. In 2006, before the Constitution was amended in 2017, this was not the case. The Electoral College was tied to the sum total of members in the Football Association of Zambia. Now, it became problematic that the membership of FAS was growing exponentially. And FIFA realized that it would become practically impossible to discuss business of FAS at an AGM of, say, 1,000 delegates, 1,500 delegates. FIFA said and demanded. I remember Primo Carvalho was chairperson of associations at FIFA. He came to Zambia to insist that Zambia needed to reduce its electoral college. It needed to reduce its electoral. In fact, they wanted it to reduce to about 50. When the Constitution was amended in 2017, the number of teams in the Super League and the number of teams in National Division 1 became the electoral college. We then narrowed down the other membership into provinces. So the other membership was distributed into provinces. And that is where they were a part now of subsections, electoral colleges, where they elected their own EXCO, which EXCO now elected the national EXCO. So you came up with a proposal to increase the number of teams in the Super League and National Division 1. The FAS Council is the supreme making body. They can make any decision. That's correct. Even a member submitting a proposal, that's correct. EXCO submitting a proposal, that's correct. But there is procedure in which these proposals are submitted. Article 22.1 of the first constitution gives us the number of teams in the Super League. 18 Super League teams who shall have 2 delegates and 1 vote each at the first council. And therefore, the number of delegates at the first council before that decision was changed is 132. So, because it has 2 delegates, 132 plus 40 provincial and 6 associations and 4 women's representatives. 132 is the total number of delegates expected to attend an AGM. Of that 182, 86 are voting delegates. Of the 86, 18 are Super League, 18 National Division 1, 40 Provincial Executive Committee members, 6 national associations, or there will be women teams. Now, you go and change the number of teams in the Super League to 20. What then should Article 22 read? Automatically, Article 22 will read 20 Super League teams. What does that mean when Article 22 reads 20 Super League teams? And Article 20, that's 22, 1A, 20 from 18 to 20. Article 22, 1B would read 18 National Division 1, meaning that there is an increase from 18 to 20, 18 to 20. You have 40. So you have increased, unless you're saying that these people cannot vote. So how are you going to select who will vote and who will not vote? Because the constitution has already changed. Automatically, you have changed the constitution. Where is the problem there? Here is the problem. When you go to Article 30 of the first constitution, on amendments to the statutes, the standing orders of the first council and the electoral college, the manner in which the constitution is amended is very specific. Whether it's EXCO submitting a proposal or it's a member submitting a proposal, it's very specific. Number one, the council is responsible for any amendments. That's correct. It can only be the council to amend, which is what you did. Number two, here's the catch. Any proposals for an amendment to the statutes must be submitted in writing with a brief explanation to the General Secretary by a member or by an executive committee. You didn't. So did you submit in writing to the members as an executive that you are going to change the first constitution by increasing the number of teams from 18 in the Super League to 20, or and 18 from National Division 1 to 20 in National Division 1? Did you write to the members? And we're supposed to write to them 21 days before the AGM. Did you do that? You ambushed the members on the day of the council meeting. You had a meeting on a Friday. On a Saturday, you were making that presentation. There was no written proposal to the members. What the Constitution says about amending the statutes. So, was your way of amending the statutes according to the Constitution? Your own Constitution, the simple Constitution, you who says you are a lecturer of law, did you write to the members? Did you explain to the members why you wanted that change? Did you explain to the members the significance of that change? You didn't. You didn't. Secondly, when you write to the members, a vote on the statutes must have an absolute majority. More than 50% eligible to vote must be present. Yes, when you meet the quorum, 50% of the people probably were present. That would be correct. Now, a proposal for an amendment to the statutes shall be adopted only if 3/4 of the delegates representing the member present and eligible to vote agree to it. 3/4. 3/4 of 86 is round about 54, 55. How did you count it when it was show of hands? In most cases, show of hands is done to the voting. How were you able to identify that this is a show of hands? Because the voting delegates are 86. How did you know? Because the council was filled with so many people. How did you know that these are the voting delegates? You can only determine that through a secret ballot. It's like you're doing a referendum. You cannot do a referendum by vox pop. You do a referendum through a vote, through the ballot. That is how you change the first constitution, clearly. So whether you like it or not, the change of teams in the Super League from 18 to 20 is a clear breach. You misled the first councillors. There is no question about it. Your own constitution, that's what it says. You didn't write to the members. You didn't give them due notice. You didn't write to them as an executive. And therefore, you've amended the constitution without following your own procedure. So, where is the problem there? You see, Mr. President, these are straightforward things. You're just complicating them unnecessarily. You want to sponsor people to start unnecessary issues. Some of us have been consistent on the constitution. We've told you we are all in football because the constitution has brought us to football to speak the same language. If we are going to support you, we must support you in doing the right thing, not doing wrong things. There will be problems. If you're not following your own constitution, there will be problems in future. We will have challenges. Yes. You gave notice to executive in 4 hours. Your exco must prepare before they come for you had a meeting the other day. A week earlier, you had the meeting. Why would you have another meeting, another exco meeting a week later? When every day you're crying the association doesn't have money, every meeting you have requires allowances. So why should you have meeting within a space of 7 days when you don't have money to pay your allowances? What kind of prudency is that? That's why the constitution is very clear. It says 7 days. So you can, when you can, at the most, you probably in a month can only have 3 meetings. The constitution says at least once. Sometimes you have not even met even that once in the last. Look at the financial report. You were elected in May. How many times did you meet between May and December? Less than 6, less than 5. Was that not breach? It was a clear breach. You didn't meet. So what was the hurry in you meeting twice in 7 days? You have to manage the association without the kind of misconduct we are seeing. Without the kind of misconduct we are seeing. There you are. You're still chairperson of the technical committee. Why are you still chairperson of the technical committee? What are you doing on the technical committee? What are you doing on the technical committee? Technical committee selects coaches, it selects players. Your law firm still sponsors your team or where you came from, FC Moza. Your conflict of interest in national team selection can easily be seen. Why are you still chairperson of the technical committee when you're also first president? In the second year running. So in essence, when the technical committee makes a decision, it is an academic exercise that such a decision, when it goes to the executive committee, will not pass. Because some of your members ask, the president has already made a decision. And those are some of the things that you need to look at. As a public officer, you need to separate your interest from the decision of the public. You are managing football on behalf of all Zambians, not on your own behalf. And that is very critical. But I should make it very clear that you are in total breach of your own provisions. Total breach. One thing I would state, Mr. President, is that, and to all the football councillors, that consistency is the hallmark of the character of a person. You have to be consistent in what you do and in life, because true greatness really is not found, in occasional acts of excellence. Because you can be excellent today here, but if you're not consistent, then what is your character? It is the discipline to do the right thing day in and day out determines who you are. That does not mean you're bringing confusion. That does not mean you're creating camps. That does not mean you don't want Zambian football to progress. That does not mean you're fighting anyone. It simply means you're demanding from everyone who takes the same position to do the right thing. Whether it is you, if it was black when Kalusha was in charge, it will still be black when Kamanga is in charge, when Keith is in charge. Yeah, am I? Both you and Kamanga have one thing in common: breach of the first constitution on the appointment of the chairperson of the technical, the ethics committee. Number one. Number two, both you and Kamanga have another thing in common: chairperson of the technical committee. Kamanga was, at some point, was also chairperson of all national teams and stuff until he handed it over to Justin, because we criticize the conflict of interest that it gave. So if we criticize Kamanga for that, why shouldn't we do it to you? If we criticize Kamanga for appointing an ethics committee chairperson without following procedure, why shouldn't we tell you the same? We'll be hypocrites, we'll be pretenders. In fact, it is stupid for us to keep quiet and watch a public officer do the same things he was condemning. You were condemning Kamanga. You were saying all sorts of things about Kamanga. Today you are doing exactly the same that Kamanga, I've already pointed out, appointed the same way Kamanga appointed the chairperson of the ethics committee. It's the same thing you've done. Who's stupid between you and me? I was consistent. I told Kamanga it was wrong to appoint Kefas Katon. Look how stupid you're looking as a lawyer. You're stupid. Huh? The same thing Kamanga did in appointing a FAS ethics committee is the same thing you've done. The same way Kamanga created the 14th illegal position. You've done the same. At least you've gone to the council. You've done you've just maybe done two things right by going to the council. Kamanga never went to the council. He created the 14th position. And when he created that illegal position, you sat on that committee under an illegal vice executive committee member. Am I lying? So who's looking stupid? You who sat on a board of the Zambian Premier League with an illegal vice executive committee member whose position was not created by the first council according to Article 33 of the first constitution. You sat on that. I challenge you. Didn't you sit on that? So who's looking stupid? Who's looking foolish? On that committee, didn't you? When we came to you and told you this was an anomaly, you agreed with us. From 2021 to 2022, you had 2 council meetings in between. So when we came to you in 2024, you agreed with us. And we gave you an idea to take to the first council to correct that position. But you were sitting on that. So look, just look at the discrepancy there. You must be grateful that there's somebody who is guiding you to do the right thing. Those that you have hired, the one that you gave 10,000 from Chingola, the one that you give 10,000 to endorse you on a radio station, you gave them 10,000 a couple of weeks ago. You start calling councillors about the vote of no confidence. You think that they're your friends. You are surrounding yourself with criminals. You're surrounding yourself with crooks. They are haunted by bailiffs. That's what you surrounded yourself, and you think that bubble is helping you. It's destroying you. It's sad for somebody who supported you to see yourself on a self-destructive path such as that one. Hiring a blogger here is not helping you. Just do the right thing. There will be nothing for me or anyone else to talk about if you're doing the right thing. But if you're going to do the wrong thing, I'm sorry, you're going to find some of us very difficult to handle. We will stick to the truth. We will stick to the first constitution, and we will not shift. We will remain steadfast. You will insult us. You will hire minions. They will say anything. We will stand firm. For the sake of Zambian football, for the sake of constitutionalism, which unfortunately as a lawyer, you've let us down on. But for the sake of Zambian football, for the sake of constitution, we'll stand firm. You can hire as many battalions, pay them, we'll be here for you. Do the right thing, you'll never hear from us, because that is the reason why we said we should elect you. But remember that you have the same thing in common with Kamanga. And if you have the same thing in common with Kamanga, if I condemn Kamanga on changing the composition of the executive, why should I call you to order on changing the composition of the Electoral College without following Article 30 of the first Constitution? Let's discuss the Constitution. I want you to be reading the Constitution when you're appearing on public. Don't just say, no, me, I'm a lawyer. No. Let's deal with substance. We know you're a lawyer. We know you've been in practice for 30 years. Let's deal with substance. What are you arguing? What are your arguments? What's your authority? That's what we want to rely on. Not just yapping, but with no substance. On that score, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a wonderful day and wonderful time. I'm very happy to have discussed constitutionalism. On Wednesday, I am bringing a report on match fixing that I'm submitting to FIFA, and I'll play you an audio of how some of these match fixings are done. So let's link up on Wednesday, and thank you as always for joining Augustine's Final Whistle. Remember to share, remember to subscribe on YouTube. You have a wonderful day. God bless you. Shalom, shalom, and may Zambian football win as always.